What's another example, though, of something that we take for granted now that started off under such sort of radical circumstances?
Capitalism. Capitalism started with Venice. Venice is the first pre-stead, or if you want to call it a swampstead. So feudalism dominated Europe. How did the Renaissance start? How did all this free market stuff start? What kicked all this off? Well, there was so much war in Italy. First of all, Italy's sort of unique because it's on the other side of the Alps. So it's hard to get armies across it. But there was tons of war in Italy. Refugees couldn't stand it anymore. They're just trying to not die, so they're moving to a swamp. So over time, it's like, well, we need a church. Let's build a church on stilts. You know, that was like in the 600s. So they had a little church out there. They're living in their little boats. They're skimming salt off the surface of the ocean certain times a year to sell that salt to the world because salt was such a precious commodity. This thing we just use casually, it's cost nothing now. People were willing to die along the Silk Road to get. Well, they found something they could trade, sell to the world so they can get stuff back, which answers another seasteading question. Well, how are you going to make a living out there? How are you going to get food? How are you going to be independent? You rely on the resources of land. Yeah, Venice relied on the resources of land. They had to find a unique service to trade for all the resources of the land. All islands everywhere prosper by trade with the rest of the world, just like cruise ships do. So it's through trade, it starts slowly getting richer. More and more stilts are built. You got to watch these videos on YouTube of how complicated and innovative and clever it was that they started building up this city on a swamp that was slowly sinking all the time. And how do you get water? And how do you defend yourself? And how do you get food? And how do you raise your children? How do you walk around? Who will build the roads? Well, they just use the water as roads. So eventually, it built up to this city-state that was independent of all the kings on land. And it wasn't run by kings, it was run by merchants.